Hello guys, and welcome to a new Steel Division video today by me, Vulcan. Today I have for you a 4 versus 4 on Pegasus Bridge, and in this one I'm going to be playing with the 4th Armoured Division. This was a game played live on stream, and if you want to watch that VOD you will have to be a patron. Also, patrons were invited to this game. They had priority invites, which is cool, another good feature. So if you're interested in that, links in the description. But either way, in this one we're going to be playing with Pug Viking, Devout and Silhouette, who are using the 15th Infantry Scots and 3rd Armoured Divisions. Then on the opposing side we have Tankol, Salt, Zumba's and Juan, who are playing the 17th SS Panzer Grenadier, 3rd Fallschirmjäger, 91st Luftlandner and 9th Panzer. I'm just going to stick it to my point of view. And I can tell you that I was going to be taking the right side on this one. Wanted to play around sort of open ground. I do have the 4th Armoured after all. Going to be making use of the Hellcats. Now in this particular patch, the units of the 4th Armoured have been nerfed quite significantly. Abrams has been increased from 130 points to 145 points, I believe. And we also saw the Hellcats get a price increase from 100 to 110. So that comes into play a little bit in this game, but I still do relatively well with the division. But we are in for a long one, as you can see. Time of 46 minutes. We're going the whole length. So over on the left side we have Silhouette. On the left mid we have Pug Viking, and on my left I have Devout. So Devout's kind of like covering off this choke, which is generally quite hard to push through. So it's going to be up to me to make some ground on the right side. The trouble is with this right side though, just before I go over to the left and talk about that, there isn't actually many reinforcement roads. And like during the game while I was playing it live, you would have seen that I was calling in reinforcements here and they would arrive literally 5 minutes later. Especially if it's something like a slow cargo vehicle. It comes in from like down here. It has to find roads up to this one and then this one and then this one, because there's no like direct road that goes all the way up there. So it goes left, it goes right, it sort of crosses over slowly, and then it has to again cross over fields in order to get to the next road. There's no connecting roads across this entire section, and that's a problem. There is a road that sort of goes up here. That's not too bad, but it's just a matter of getting from down here to up here across fields mainly. And that's what takes it so long. So yeah, reinforcements take a while, and you do have to be careful about that as you are pushing forwards. Anyway, over on this left side we do see this lovely town, probably one of my favourite locations in the entirety of Steel Division. It's just this town, like the way it's laid out is just really nice. You got that church in the middle there that a lot of people like to sort of focus on. You got this sort of close combat area, and then you've got the orchard, and then more sort of close combat engagements. But often it's just really nice. I just like how it's laid out, and it works very, very nicely for the game. And Pug Viking is going to be taking his 15th Infantry Scots in there, so that shouldn't be too bad. And Silhouette taking his 3rd Armoured to the left. And this isn't ideal for the 3rd Armoured, but still should work out quite nicely if he makes good use of the Stuarts early on. I'm just going to speed it up, get us through deployment, then I'll talk about where I'm going to be sending my troops. But just as a quick look in general, I do have an M4 105 here. We do see some recon in there. We've got the infantry, AT guns, and it looks really satisfying actually when you speed things up and I sort out the bunching of my troops. I always, if I have time left at the start of a game, bunch up my troops like this on the road so that they have less distance to travel to get to where they are ordered to. We should be starting the game shortly. There we go. And off we go. So unload at position orders. We've got this Jeep heading up to here. I've got 2 AT guns for this right side. I've got one that's going to go through this forest and pop out the other side, and I've got one that's going to come over here and push up the right side. And those are hopefully going to help me cover this road and just the right side in general, allowing me to use the M4105 quite aggressively. Then I have a bunch of infantry that is set to take up the small tree blobs south of this tree line, and yes, that is a technical term, tree blobs. We're going to have some armoured LMG rifles in this one, I think it was, or maybe even this one, just so that I can shoot any infantry that comes into this tree line. And then I'm going to have some rifles here to do the same, because you don't want to put anything into this tree line yourself, otherwise you expose yourself to fire support from the other side. And then behind both of those I do have command infantry to like help out as well. So that's exactly what's happening over on that left side at the moment. And then on the right it's just all down to the M4105, and you can see just how long it takes for things to move up, because they have to go, you know, left, right, across that road, then they come across the field and so on. It just kind of gets a bit ridiculous. But still, AT guns have arrived, armoured leader following up this one on the left. My recon's also here as well, so the idea here is to spot the AT guns ahead of me, and then that allows me to use the M4105 to take them out. That's what I'm looking to do. M3A1 half track takes a little bit of damage and shots from the Pack 36, I believe it was, or maybe even the IG-18. But I get the armoured LMG rifles into this position safe and sound, which is good, and just going to be attack moving them forwards so that any units that come towards them get mown down. 30 cals there should do the job. Over on this left side, Pug is trying to make a push in with his AVRE, relying on that quite nicely. And on the far left, we can see the M4A1 causing issues for Juan here. Or Juan, I'm just going to call him Juan. Sorry if I've got that wrong, but either way, Pack 38 going to have a hard time actually killing an M4A1. Does manage to take out that half track though. Now, as you can see on the right side, I'm actually playing this quite conservatively. I'm not going super aggressive. I've got my M3's half tracks behind cover, slowly wheeling forwards the M1 guns, moving forwards my recon, because I want to make sure that there's nothing ahead of me, no AT guns that can take out this M4. Because for all I know, he could be holding a return fire AT gun here, and as soon as my M4 starts moving up, he can try and take the shot and kill it, which would be really, really frustrating. So I'm playing it safe, bringing up Abrams to accompany the M4105, and you can see just how disjointed the sort of fast move to the location is. And this is the fastest route, I believe, because across ground, Abrams will be moving like really slow. So he's taking the long way around, and I'm just waiting for him to get to the front line before I start moving up. Now, on this left side, using the M3A1 a little bit to help support Devalt's rifles as that's move across the open, and my recon have been making it a little bit more ground. You can see these rifles now in position. This one just a little bit back from the T, so that nothing from the other side can shoot at it. So just come into that tree line as that's trooping are revealed. I also reveal a 6-man AT squad over here, and that pretty much tells me it's a Pack 40, because 6-man AT squads, the only ones that can be that at the start of the game, are Pack 40s on the opposing side. So that's what Zumbi's layer is going to be relying on this right side to take care of this M4105. Now the Pack 40 matches the range of the M4105, but it does have the 13 AP there, so it can definitely get a one-shot kill from max range, which is worrying. But putting back my rifles here does allow me to get the M4105 into range and into line of sight to help out. Abrams is slowly arriving, and now I also have an M21 mortar carrier on the way as well. Just as you can see, it just takes ages to get these reinforcements up. If you think how long ago I just mentioned Abrams there, and you think of how long on the timer it's taken for him to actually move up, it's a long time, for sure. The rifles moving up there, they've come into line of sight of the Azaz Trooper and the Pack 40. You can see I tried to put them onto return fire because I can see the Stur 42 coming down the road, and I don't want that to hit them. But taking this opportunity to continue to push across this recon, and the recon on the right's fine. And this is basically all done to play around the two M4s that I have. 105mm one and the 75 Abrams. So the idea is this 75mm Sherman will be able to take out the Stuhr 42 for me and any other armoured vehicles. Then I have the mortar to pin down or smoke off enemy AT. And then I have got the M4105 to kill enemy infantry and those AT guns once and for all. So, looks like over on this left side of me, Tanko and Devout were just butting heads for like the majority of the game. Same goes for Pug Viking and Salt. And Juan is making some ground into silhouette on this left side at the moment. So currently still a 50-50, even though I was kind of pushing past the halfway point on my side of the map, especially up here, because the halfway is around here. So all of this extra ground that I have thanks to these rifles and armoured LMG rifles is good, and taking full advantage of this is very important, because this tree line is so damn difficult to push round, and you should take complete advantage of that when you're playing on this side of the map. So the M4 105mm has moved up. We're going to almost be taking a shot at the Stuhr 42 there. But as I revealed, there is a Pak 40 waiting for my M4 105 to come around the corner. Now this M3 half track, I move it behind these trees just to get it out of line of sight. And then I'm going to move my M4 105 back to the right side again to get it out of line of sight. I want to close that angle best I can, but I don't want to get too close to this tree line as well because of Panzerschrecks, Panzerfaust, all that good stuff. So rifles moving up slightly. I wanted to see what we could find up here. Reveal the Pak 36 moving into this tree line. I also reveal the IG-18 that's firing at me and the Ersatztruppen. Gives a target for the M4 105 to fire at. As you can see, with this Pak 40 moving over to the left, I'm going to be trying to smoke off that angle with the M21, allowing me to keep the M4s away from the tree line here and use them hopefully more effectively. On the right side, I'm going to be engaging those Ersatz. I know that he only has one Pak 40 at the start of the game, so I'm able to establish that that's not in the way, and I'm going to be able to move over to the right side here and run down some Ersatz. M4 105, going to be using that to take out the Pak 36. Only got 5 AP, so going to have a hard time killing the M4. Mortar carrier takes out the MG34 for me. ME109 with G2 BR21 with the 2 rockets comes in. Does force my M4 105 back, but I'm just going to be keeping up the smoke here. Whilst one of my mortars actually goes for the strike onto the Pak 40 directly, and the reason I have to do that is because these mortar carriers actually have 1,200 meter range. So if the mortar carriers can fire at the Pak 40, the Pak 40 can fire back. So it's important that the smoke remains there for those mortar carriers to, you know, try and kill that. Now that rifle squad does eventually go down. Did reveal quite a lot of information though. As you can see, mortars are starting to do the work and forcing back the Pak 40, which makes things a lot safer for me moving on with these M4s. So on this right side, as you can see, M3 half tracks have been pushed up. Again, since the Pak 40 was moved over to the left, I can exploit this right flank, trying to push as hard as I can. Still a 50-50 though, because unfortunately Silhouette is losing a lot of ground on the left flank. Either way, M4 105mm gets line of sight onto the Pak 36. That's going to be very dead. We also had the mortar carriers going for that shot as well. Good job done there. This recon squad really helped me out actually. That was what was helping me spot the Pak 40, although currently in this location, cut off from line of sight due to the tree patches. But Stuhr 42 versus M4. Not really much to worry about there, just a couple of HE tanks firing at each other. Infantry still causing quite a nice punch in the front line here, these armoured LMG rifles, especially dealing with the Ersatz in here. Going to be making those surrender and maintain that little salient. I've also got the M3 half-track pushing hard on the right side to maintain our 50-50. Because currently the Axis have 14 points and we have none. So yeah, just doing as much as I can. Have an M1 gun moving up. And with the reveal of the Pak 40, going to be going for the mortar strikes onto that straight away. Tries to move it away, gets taken out, job done. Exactly what I want to do. This M3 half-track bumps into the Stug there, and does go down. Pak 36 also destroyed. We do see this Pak 36 37mm engaging my Abrams, again 5 AP, however. Not going to be enough to take out Abrams. Also got the 105 on target and the M21 mortar carriers. So yeah, just not any AT left really at this point. Bolshevik try and push onto my M4, but get forced to fall back. And I'm going to try and run them down with the M3 half-track there. The M3 half-track actually suffered a weapon damage previously, so it doesn't actually have any ammunition, but I can still use it to make things surrender, so that's what I'm trying to do. There is the Fallschirmjäger, of course, though, and the MU-109 has come in and forced my M4-105 to fall back. As you can see, there is a Ju-87 on the way. I have, however, already brought up a CGMC to help with the anti-air. And the Ju-87 only gets 2 shots off before it's forced to fall back, and that's exactly what you want to do. I brought in the CGMC relatively early, a lot earlier than I normally would, and it definitely paid off, stopping the Ju-87 getting any kills whatsoever there. Hellcat's finally arriving on the field, and I have my infantry moving up, some reinforcing infantry. It's been on the way for quite a while. I'm going to need this infantry basically to continue pushing forwards, especially against things like that Fallschirmjägers. Helps us find things like this Panzer Abwehr, which gets absolutely wrecked. Now you can see, if I sort of hover over the M4, that's 145 points now for Abrams, and the Hellcat's 110 points. So I didn't decide to bring in Abrams at the start, which was often something that happened a lot. I had to basically wait, and I brought him in after the beginning of the game. Now you do get like 160 points from 2 ticks, so it's just enough to take out Abrams. Or bring out Abrams. Leaves you with 15 spare points, but there we see the Fallschirmjäger almost killing off Abrams with its AT. Managed to spot that in time and get him on the reverse order. CGMC almost gets taken out by the HS-129B1, but it misses, and I do manage to make him fall back. Now it's a matter of getting up some more reinforcing AA. I've also got some cavalry scouts on the way to provide me with some extra recon. Of course, I do have recon already here, but you know, more recon's always good as well. Hellcat at the moment trying to take out the Stug 3 for me. And any units that reveal themselves in the open over here, like these Fallschirmjägers, being hit very hard. And the Hellcat finally kills off the Stug on the right as well. Now this is an unvetted Hellcat, so it did take its sweet time in killing off that Stug 3, but we got there in the end. ME-109 going to be forced to fall back thanks to the AA. And Panzer Abwehr here actually ended up taking out my M4-105. I believe it took a side shot and went down. So mortar carrier just mortaring the command infantry there, because I need to get rid of that so that I can start to move up my tanks again. Meanwhile, Abrams is trying to get into line of sight of the Stuart 42, and that's exactly what's happened here. Get the shooter knockout, which is great. Fallschirmjägers reveal themselves briefly, get taken down to 2 health. And currently, Zumbislayer not having a fun time. Engine destroyed on the Stuart 42, only a matter of time until Abrams gets the kill shot. So that's what I'm looking for. Still 50-50, Axis actually getting up to 62 points now. Silhouette slightly finding his feet, trying to hold back his opponent, but definitely lost a lot of ground and a lot of forces so far. Pug Vikings made a bit of ground through the town, which is good, but kind of come to a standstill, and there is a little salient in the mid. Devout and Tankol still going at it. Right, meanwhile, Abrams now moving up. We are going to be able to get the last of my 50 cal ammunition on target there. Pack 38's trying to engage Abrams at max range, but 10 AP not going to penetrate 10 armor at max, whereas 11 AP or 5 HE is going to kill off a Pack 38. Now an ME-109 was successful in rocketing my group of Hellcats here, so you can see them starting to fall back. And the reason I've massed Hellcats is because I like to have them in like groups of 3. I find them really damn effective, because at least one of them hits and you generally kill stuff with them. So for example, these Hellcats, if I just did a 3-man push around the right side to kill this Marder 2, if I lose one of the Hellcats, you know, it pretty much pays for itself and we continue. It's the beauty of them. Now, I do have the mortars coming down onto these Ersatztruppen. The idea being that, you know, I can pin down the Fallschirmjäger and then make them all surrender. Mortar fire continuing to come in. It's very close range. Do actually manage to pin down the Fallschirmjäger there, which is fantastic. Make him surrender. Take out one of the Ersatz as well. And that's a lot of ground made. So Hellcats are going to move back into position. I've actually got a 4th Hellcat joining that group. Abrams has done his job on the left side, and I'm actually moving up the WC-52 to take control behind this tree line. I've also got the armoured LMG rifles now moving up, and you can see we have got 52% territory, +1 in our favour. So finally starting to tick up the score. Focke-Wulf 190s come in to try and strafe my armoured rifles, but they are going to turn towards my AA. You see one's going to get forced to fall back, and there goes the second as they fly over these 2 CGMCs, which are coming up as reinforcements, as you can see. Just put them onto attack move orders now, since they are pretty much close enough to the front line to be effective. They'll slowly make their way towards the Hell Pack, and that Hell Pack's slowly moving over to the Abrams at the moment to get the command stars. We've also got to deal with this Marder 2 at some point, so I'm looking to engage that. So Zombies trying to hold the line as best as he can at the moment, but more reinforcements going to be on the way, and you can see the sort of train of reinforcements that I had coming all the time, and just how long they were taking to get to the front line. It was quite frustrating. Either way, there go the Hellcats. We've got a little attack order going on. HS-129, however, is going to be coming in. Goes for the WC-52. Isn't able to take out any of the Hellcats. However, the ME-109 does get its rockets off and is going to force one to fall back. This prompts Zombies to engage with one of his Marders, and that's a Marder Hellcat engagement. If the Marder can get on target, both of them have an equal chance of killing each other because of the low armor, high AP ratio. But this Hellcat doesn't want to, you know, hit anything today, so Marder 2 manages to get away for now. That's 3 missed shots from that Hellcat. So I didn't want to make the same mistake as I made before. I have put up another 4th armoured video relatively recently, and what happened was I pushed up really hard, made a lot of ground, and then what happened was I sacrificed too many of my Hellcats, and I lost all that ground that I made very quickly and actually ended up losing. Whereas this time round, I was pretty sure that I didn't want that to happen. It's also actually pretty hard for the 91st Luftlandau to push back so effectively. So now I've had such a successful early game, I can really try and take advantage of that. Now you saw the HS-129 come in there, took out one of my Hellcats, initially weapon damage, but eventually got the kill. My Hellcats are trying to kill off this Marder 2, currently missing loads. Abrams providing the command there though. I do have a couple of rifles moving into this town, and I managed to get the Marder eventually. Quite simply just to make as much ground as I can and continue this +1 for our team. So now we see the Marder coming into range of Abrams. Abrams can't actually fire back, so going to have to be very careful with that engagement. Ideally what I should have done is just had like a Hellcat come up to him and help out, but the SFH 396 is actually firing in this direction as well. Now any infantry that reveals itself to the WC-52s and the M4105s are going to get wrecked. I do have my CGMCs moving over as well now, so they can provide ground fire support as well as obviously anti-air. Making a nice amount of ground. Got my units nicely spread as well. More reinforcements, however, are being brought in. Pack 40 there. Need to get these mortars into a position where they have range to hit that.
Take cover, Lieutenant.
By the way, more artillery coming in. We've also got ersatz engaging my rifles, but we do have the armoured leader in the right place. Ju-87 was going to go for a strike onto one of these Hellcats, but my AA is now far enough forwards. Not far enough forwards, however, to stop an M4 getting killed, since this is a 2-star Pack 38, and at that range, the M4105 going to go down very easily, and that's exactly what happened. So nice little ambush there from Zoom Bislayer. I'm going to be returning the favour though with the mortars. Try and do as much damage as I can. MU-109 does manage to get its rockets off on this left side, making my Hellcat fall back just a little bit, but we're okay. And you can see the mortars are firing away, trying to clean up this Pack 38. Now if I can take out that Pack 38, it actually leaves him relatively defenseless on that side. Got a reinforcing M4 actually coming up at the moment, but I do have to be very careful, because I know that Pack 38 is there, but I also know it's probably pinned down due to the mortar fire. It's just who gets line of sight first and who recovers first. The other thing is the Pack 40 up here, M4105 at max range, could probably win an engagement if the Pack 40 misses, but if it gets on target, then you're dead.
I see movement. Prepare to engage.
So here comes more infantry towards the town. You can also see my mortars firing away towards the Pack 43 that I sort of brought in. So trying to get a bit of damage in there as well. So now there's the engagement between the Pack 40 and the M4105. I'm also going to take a shot from the Pack 38 on the right. And yeah, as you can see, not doing too well. Now the M21 mortar carriers here, they are in the prime position to pin down this Pack 38. The Pack 38 already did its job in stopping these rifles actually getting to the town in the first place. Because ideally I would have had these rifles in these buildings right now, with the armoured leader behind them, giving them the command star, but now they're stuck out in the open, they're being hit by the Pack 40, the machine guns of the Pioneers can mow them down, and that's an issue. We're also starting to run low on ammunition, so my GMC finally arrives. I'm going to be trying to use that to reload these mortar carriers. Pack is starting to recover its numbers on the right side, and I'm also looking to push through here as well. Now 50-50 still, as you can see, Juan has broken through, got into this town, and that's going to be extremely hard for Silhouette to push back against. On this right side, HS129 tries to get some cheeky shots into my mortar carriers, but we do have the CGMC on the case. Pack 40 is now dead over here though, and the Pack 43 was forced back. So we're slowly whittling down the AT of my opponent.
Enemy spotted.
But I'm sure there's plenty more where that came from moving into the later phases. I want to make a little push with these Hellcats, so going to be going for it on this right side. You can see me spreading them out with the attack orders. I've got to make that +1 so we can continue the tick in our team's favour. We've currently got the 403 points. Currently nowhere near enough to secure a victory, really. So yeah, just going to go hard on this right side, try and get the Hellcats up. They do have 50 cals that they can use to help themselves with infantry, which is nice, and they also have the like HE shell. But generally, you want to keep them as far away from infantry as possible. Now on this side, Tanko was being a bit cheeky. Brought up his 17th SS to help out Zombies. And is currently almost getting into line of sight of some of my mortars and so on. So what I'm trying to do here is like smoke off the line of sight, but as you can see, still managed to get a shot through and take out one of the mortars, which was unfortunate. Either way, Pack 43 going to be going down here, but there has been new reinforcements arriving. But we're well into Phase C, and I'm bringing in constant reinforcements now. Also trying to use this GMC to the best of my ability to resupply these mortars. But now we see the 380mm off-map come in, and what a good choice that was. Absolutely annihilates my AA there, the CGMC taking a direct hit and just blowing up. And that off-map is also exceptional against the Hellcats. Like a Hellcat, if a 380mm off-map strike lands next to it, you're going to be having a hard time because it's open top. So bringing in those off-map, often a good idea. Now on the right side, Pack 40 does get line of sight onto my mortar as it starts to run away. But I want to get that into cover if I can, and then I want to maybe use the Hellcats to pin down and kill off the Pack 40 there. I managed to get Abrams to deal with the Stug for me. 11 AP versus its 8 armor worked out quite nicely. HS-129 comes in with the shots onto the Hellcat. Backed off once again by the CGMCs. So my AA was pretty tight in this game. As tight as it could be really without being cost inefficient. Like I didn't want to bring in more CGMCs than I had to because I wanted to also spend the points on the Hellcats. But you can see there exactly what I was saying. And the 380mm off map is more than enough to blow up a Hellcat. Another one goes down to the HS-129 as it gets a little bit too far forwards, and that was unfortunate. But still the 50-50, still 425 points in our favour, and minor victory in 11 minutes and 23 seconds. So the cavalry scouts pulling up, and we've got some more infantry coming. I'm going to have plenty of recon to see exactly what's going on ahead of myself.
Ready, sir.
So I actually changed the orders of my reinforcements quite a bit throughout this game, and I think it just shows because I was so far away from the spawn. So generally by the time the stuff you've ordered comes in, you've changed your mind as to what you want to do with it, or the, you know, situation that you're looking at has changed. Now there's a Pack 43 here. That was going to move and aim at Abrams, so I decided to back out of that. MU-109 does come in for the rocket strike, but however does get forced to fall back. WC-52 goes down to the Pack 43, and the Pack 43 is going to basically try and deal with my mortar, but I'm getting the mortar on the case to fire back and looking for the stun there, and that's exactly what we get. AT gun taking a lovely amount of damage. Wolf 190 is also going down. Now with this division, when I was making this video, I didn't have any air force. Ideally what I should have on this division is like a Lightning or a B-26B, so that I can capitalize on my own AA. Because there's been plenty of times in this game, as you may have seen, where they've brought in a HS-129 or something else, and it just gets away because the AA doesn't kill it in time. However, if I started shooting down those aircraft, that would be very, very good for me and give us a lot of points. in terms of our KD. But at the moment, you can see Axis victory in 9 minutes and 20 seconds. It's rocking backwards and forwards. Anyone who gets the +1 really has a chance of winning at this point. See another Hellcat go down on the right side to the Panzer Abwehr, I think, and the ME-109G2 manages to pin down my CGMC as well. So yeah, I thought that was the Panzer Abwehr there, but it might have just been the Pak-40 picking off a Hellcat. So over on this left side, Silhouette bringing up the Jumbo. One of the Jumbos actually going down there, however. Gets a little bit too close for comfort. Things really not going very well. Devout is going to be bringing in his Spitfire to try and shoot down the HS-129. Preferably he wants to be having that engagement over my AA on the right side, but pulling away from the ME-109 there was a bad idea. Ends up getting it shot down. Now if you're unsure if you're going to win an air engagement, I would say the best thing to do really is to just right click on the enemy plane, and you know, when they get into the whole looping thing that they do, just pull away when you're like on the opposite side of the loop to the enemy, and it should give you a little bit of a head start to get your plane either out of there or reinforced. The Pak-40 is dead on the right side now. I've brought in this M12 GMC, and that's been helping us as well. It's got 4,000 meter range, probably didn't need it so close to the front line, but when it's got corrected shot and it uses its high HE effectively, that M12 GMC is absolutely fantastic, so trying to make good use in this game. I brought over an M4A1 Rhino to sort of capitalise on the left flank, but my main contingent is here, and it's just about to get off-mapped, as you can see. Triple Hellcat, we've got the M4105 in there. HS-129 comes in from Salt this time round, and there's another one there from Zumbiz. Fortunately managing to keep them at bay. But this is where I kind of need to go into almost defensive mode, because it's going to be very hard for me to push past this tree line. Especially with all of the AT guns that I actually saw brought up as reinforcements. Another BEO Kubel 380mm off map coming in as well. So expecting a lot more of my half tracks and so on to die at this point, because they're all open top. As long as we can keep the 50-50 though, this is going to be a victory, and it's certainly intense at this point, since you know, on this right side, Silhouette's just having a hard time holding the ground. Pug Viking did manage to break through to the enemy side of town on the left side, which is helping us out a lot, and Devout's keeping the 50-50, so that's okay. But we've made a lot of ground here on the right. I've just got to hold it long enough for us to win, and currently we're going to win in 6 minutes and 15 seconds. But are we really? Because all it takes for them is a +1, and they could very easily win the game instead. So the Rhino moved over to the left, ends up getting shot at by the Pak-40, which forces it to fall back. I'm still trying to mortar the enemy Pak-40 up north, like at the top. Still have at least one of those mortars left. Second one arriving there. But as it does, off map is going to take it out. We also see my recon on the right side die to that off map. It did blind me quite a bit. And the 380mm also taking out one of my AA pieces. So finally there, Abrams going to be going down to the Pak-43. Not much you can do about that. 2-star Pak-43. Very likely to hit first time, and did this time round. So I'm starting to bring in a couple of reinforcements on the left side. You can see the M5 gun there take out the Tiger. A second one coming in as well. That's quite simply to help Silhouette stabilize and maybe just continue to reinforce himself there. A Panzer Abwehr coming up. They're going to pick off that M4105, and that's probably the third M4105 that I've lost at this point. Not ideal, but we're making it work. As long as I keep the Hellcats behind this tree line, there's not too much he can do. But if he does have recon in this tree line, he can order in very effective off-map strikes. And he's got these 2 Kubals ready and waiting to go. I think one of them probably used up all of its ammunition by now. But the second one still has at least a couple of strikes left. So I need to be very careful with how I proceed and how I space my troops. So you can see the Hellcats are relatively well spaced. I can't space them too much because otherwise they won't have any cover. Now, armoured LMG rifles, they're coming up to help harass the town. Pack 40 has other ideas though and is going to take out the M3A1 half-track. This armoured LMG rifle, that's going to try and go for the same segment over on this left side, because I would really like to push for a +1 before the end of the game, just so that we get the security of a definite victory. Now here, both the command and my mortar carrier get blown up. You also saw the WC-52 go down, and although I've been trying pretty damn hard, they are starting to kill off some of my armoured units due to the Kubals, and you can have them this far forwards, because if I try and flank these tree lines in any ways, I'm just going to get smashed in the face by Pack 43s, and I know it. I'm relying very heavily on those mortars, and now they're dead, so not too much flexibility left for me to push really hard. But I can try and save the day on the left side, so that's kind of what's happening at the moment, as I have brought up these 2 M5 guns to help out. But 2 minutes and 55 seconds left on the clock, and we do have another Rhino joining an M4A1 76mm. These things are pretty damn cool. Brought in the 76 just so that I have the extra range to like engage these Stugs, because Stugs struggle with the 1000 meter range quite badly, and then I can just have Rhinos as like infantry fire support tanks. Now Rhinos are really cool because they have the hedge cutters at the front of them. They also have the same setup as most half-tracks, or M4 sorry, as well, with the 150 cal and 2 30 cals. So if I move both of the Rhinos towards the town, I can probably make a difference. But that M4A1 76 is looking for kills onto the Stugs. That Stug has taken cover, so that doesn't happen. So as you can see, I'm lacking recon a little bit on this right side. I do, however, have some very good recon here in form of the cavalry scouts, so that's working out quite nicely at the moment. HS-129 coming in again to try and get some kills, but GMC is going to be forcing him to fall back. And again, this is where like a fighter or something would be really useful, because then we'd actually like get these kills. We'd be able to confirm them at least. Instead, all we're doing is damaging them slightly, send them back to base. They haven't spent much of their ammunition, so they get reloaded pretty quickly, and then they come back out again. Now on this left side, M5 gun does get taken out. Still have one alive though. But I've got bigger things to worry about on this right side as Hellcat sneaks forwards, or a Vulcan Abwehr sneaks forwards and takes out the Hellcat. Another HS-129, as you can see. CGMCs need to do the job, and that they do. So 45 seconds left on the timer. Not really much that the Axis can do anymore, and we're looking at a victory. It was a hard game, but as you can see, I definitely didn't overextend. I went as far as I could in phase A and B, and then I've been playing it pretty chill in the later phases, especially with the arrival of the Pack 43s. Not too much I can do about them. What I can do though is push some infantry into the town, especially if the enemy infantry is pinned down. So Rhino does go down to one of the Pack 43s. We also kill the Pack 40 towards the end, but that's going to be a minor victory after the full 40 minutes. And if we jump to the team scores, it wasn't even that positive. 2,785 kills to 2,685 losses. A lot of those losses though to the off map. That's horrible. Look at this off map kill sheet. This one killed the CGMC and a Hellcat, which is really good. But then this one killed off 2 of my mortar carriers, a CGMC, took out those half tracks there, cavalry scouts, armoured rifles, just not very fun at all. This Panzer Abwehr paid itself off like 4 or 5 times over by killing the M4 and the Hellcat. But that's going to be it for today, because unfortunately my voice is letting go. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.